Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is Emmanuel Itier, director, producer, and author. He has written and directed the Oneness Collection, 6 documentaries for a conscious humanity, together with actress Sharon Stone. He directed several pictures before completing the peace documentary, The Invocation, narrated by Sharon Stone and starring Desmond Tutu, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Deepak Chopra, as well as worldwide peace activists. For the last 25 years, Emmanuel has been a successful music and film journalist for rock and roll magazines and many French TV networks. He is the founding president of the Rotary E-Club of World Peace and a part of the United Nations Association. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Emmanuel Itier. Welcome, Emmanuel. This is your second appearance. I'm so happy to have you back.
Thank you, Gary. I'm so glad to be back.
Yes.
Alive and rocking after this crazy 3 years of nonsense.
Exactly. I mean, you are the peacemaker of the world, and I know that you're always out there with your films and doing many incredible things for people to enlighten them, but also to open up people's awareness. And I know that you are trying to really bring peace in the world. What would you define the word peace for most people?
Well, there is a saying, to prepare peace, you have to prepare for war. That famous quote from Lao Tse. Well, we have to debunk that. No. To prepare for peace, you need to prepare for peace. You need to become peace. Peace in action, which are actually the last 3 words of the first documentary I directed, The Invocation. And that was actually a thought that was created by Sharon Stone. And it made total sense. Peace is an action. Peace is a verb. It's not about blah, blah, blah. It's not about the crystal and the groovies and the ritual and going to the Himalayas and making one with the universe. That's blah, blah. Enough of blah, blah. We need action. Show me you love me by your action. Don't say I love you. Say, do it. Do it. I think that's a problem, is people hide behind words. They get lost in endless negotiation and mediation and blah, blah, blah and dissertation. And now it's a time of action. We've seen it for the last 3 years. If we didn't have some serious action, we'd still be stuck at home. Thank God we're back. And so to move forward, we need to become peace in action. That's that. And remember, peace is a verb. It's not just a word.
And how do we define or discover true happiness and the balance of peace? I mean, that's the question.
That's the eternal question. What is happiness? What is the meaning of life? Well, I've come to the conclusion, and it's based on 25 years roaming the world, hanging out with the Dalai Lama, the Deepak Chopra, the Gary Quinn, Sharon Stone, and so many other amazing geniuses. And really, for me, the meaning of life and happiness is, I think, therefore I am, therefore I do. So I think, therefore I am, that's a French, quote, but already right there, it's a foundation, because to reach happiness and to reach and find a meaning of your life, you need to think. You need to evaluate within what you think you are made for. What is this card of game that was given to you, this DNA, and what are you going to do with it? What are you going to embody with it? So I think then I'm becoming that thought. So the last step is going to be to put it in action. So therefore I do. And when you find truly a purpose for your life, what you're made for, whatever it is, a great podcaster, a great peacemaker, a great surgeon, a great anything, a great carpenter, a great teacher. When you find that is what you're made of and why you're made of, that is giving a meaning to your life. And that is giving completion and oneness to your life. The reason why we have an existentialist crisis now and midlife crisis with so many people, and it can start at 15 and then you indulge in drugs and you might never get out of it, or it starts at 45 and you become these narcissistic creatures showing their butt all over the internet and you never get out of it. So midlife crisis can happen anytime, but it happens to people who have missed the point of their life, who have missed the meaning of their life. They've been sidetracked. There's been a really an accumulation of frustration, of regret, of disillusion, and they snap. And then they're going to express that in the worst way possible by either self-destroying themselves and destroying the environment around them, their family, their friend. So really, it's very important to think, be, and then do. That's your meaning of life, and that's happiness. It's very simple. Happiness is about being that, about finding the true meaning of your life.
But I think we have to look at life, Emmanuel, as it's a school, and I know people are thrown big things daily or weekly that are sometimes overwhelming, and you're going, why is that happening to me? What is that all about? Basically, I think the thing we have to look at it's having breakthroughs, not breakdowns. And it's hard because we're in situations of relationships or work situations that you've had for many years, and then all of a sudden the rug is pulled under from you, and you have to really be confident that no matter what is happening, that you will overcome it, and really search for becoming the miracle in your life and not letting it take you down. Because if you let things take you down, it will destroy you. And I think peace in action is really taking action to be the best that you can. And you're a powerful person, Emmanuel. And I know you were running for president in France last year, and you'll do it again when it's time. But I think the thing that is important is that the films that you're making are all about what society is going through and what we've gone through. And your latest one, the last one, was Guns, Bombs, and War, a love story. Well,
basically, Guns, Bombs, and War was really a study of our inner violence and inner anger. And that was a great movie because it was at the time where with Trump, obviously, we went through a lot of violence examination and self-anger management situation. And we haven't moved forward that much. But now to complement that documentary, I just started one. Actually, it's going to be started today with the first interview after this interview being with you. It's called The Growth of Man. And I think we are in a key moment in our humanity, in our history, where men are really the one that needs some healing right now. We worried about the women. We gave them great empowerment. I did with a movie called Femme, Women Healing the World that I produced with Sharon Stone. So it's great. We have made a lot of progresses with women, and I hope they appreciate all the effort that we men have done. But now look at us men. We are in shit, excuse my French language. We really are in a critical situation. 80% of the violence, the suicide, the terrorist act of terrorism, the mass shooting, it's us, it's men. It's always a man. And even now, there's the assumption that all men are rapists and pedophiles. It's horrible the way we are treated. So, I'm doing a movie called The Growth of Men, the growth, growing, because I think, yes, we need to grow, but not grow only ourselves as men, as supermen, but society needs to grow and to accept us a little bit better, because we have been pushed aside, like women were pushed aside for centuries. So I get it, but hey, stop trying to replace patriarchy by matriarchy. It's not going to change anything. You're replacing a form of racism and fascism by another one. So that's not going to work. So it's really about finding the partnership situation between both gender, And because again, oneness doesn't have a gender. Oneness doesn't have a race, a color. We are all complementary. 8 billion of us. We are all fantastic geniuses. And we are all there to serve each other purpose, to serve each other meaning of life, to serve each other happiness. So we need to move into that new frame of thinking and doing. Again, the doing is really important. Don't get stuck in your thought. Don't get stuck in your prayer. Stop believe in Santa Claus. I see that often and often. Oh, I believe in my little crystal, in my tarot card, in my moonshine, in my daddy. Cool, it's okay. But realize, it's not real totally. Because if it was real, when you go to Peru and you've got the best crystal, well, you're surrounded by all this poverty and this misery and this distress. So, and you go to India, it's the same. You've got all these tourists going over there, hanging out with the Dalai Lama. Yeah, and what do you do with that poverty? We have 8 billion people on this planet. 7 billion are living in total poverty, in total distress. So stop believing in Santa Claus and stop believing in the own Santa Claus that you're creating for yourself. Acquire faith. Faith is a verb that comes from trusting. Faith is fidere in Latin, and that's a pagan verb, and it's to trust. So find this inner trust. And how do you find that? By daring to re-engage your relationship with others. Because we are not in relationship now. Nobody is in relationship. We are narcissistically taking pictures of ourselves, guilty, I am the first, posting them, look at me, me, myself, and I, me, myself, and I, me, myself, and I. Okay, so we have a society of 8 billion me, myself, and I? Who's going to do the healing? Who's going to do the saving? It's me, myself, and we. I am because we are. I am because we are. So stop looking at your butt 24/7. And worse, stop begging for this attention. You're not going to get the real love. You're going to create an instinct, a predator instinct of people wanting to consume you, to sleep with you, to use your money. They're not there to love you. They are there to use you, to abuse you, to eat you raw. So wake up.
And I think that comes to the full stop point of it comes down to love, self-love, because at the end of the day, that is all there is in the world. And I know you've traveled all over the world and seen so many things and people and poverty and different cultures. What has been the most shocking to you when you went to that country and you said, wow?
Well, it's everywhere. Honestly, every country today is very alike, other than the language that's different, the accent, the food, the outside appearance of the people. But we are all in a love crisis right now. And there are two things. There is I'm in love and I love. And the difference is very clear. When you say I'm in love, it's you believe in Santa Claus. You meet this young man and he's so fantastic. And because I live with my old husband, who's boring, with whom I've been with for 20 years, oh my God, it's such a brief affair. So I'm in love. Oh, he's fantastic. But no, you need to move to love. And when you love, you embrace the good and the bad in everybody. And right now, we're not in a society that says, I love. We're in a society, I want to be in love. Oh, I want to be in love. I want to be hugged. I want to be loved for myself. That's not love. That's fucking believing in Santa Claus again. Wake up, Santa Claus doesn't exist. What exists is each other love. And love is not perfect. Love is the imperfectness of perfectness. You know, it's a good and the bad at once. It's a white and the black. It's a light and the darkness. It's oneness. So when I look at Gary and I say, I love you, it's because I know Gary for 20 years and I know the great thing about Gary, and there's a few things that flows like we all have. And I'm like, well, who cares? I'm focusing on the great thing. So that's a different. When you are in love, you're just infatuated. You're blind, like an idiot. Mm-hmm. When you love, you're in full consciousness. You're full aware of everything, the good and the bad. But you focus on the good because obviously the good helps moving forward. If you focus on the bad and on the flaws of each other, we're never going to stop poking at each other. Oh, look at him. He's got such a stupid accent. Oh, look at him. He dresses like an idiot. Oh, look at him. He's a bit fat. Oh, look at him. He hasn't invested in Bitcoin when he should have. You know, who cares? What's great about that man? What's great about that woman? Focus on the good.
And I think it starts with each individual learning to love themselves first, because if you cannot love yourself first, you will be a reflection of everything around you that does not love you. And I think so many people in life all over the world are looking for just all the same thing. They just want to feel love. They want to be secure, but they have a false idea of what love is, or they don't know what love is in their country. It's a different analogy for each country. But would you say that how can people deepen our experience to change? What is the
It's
solution?
very clear. You just said it. You know, you're talking about love yourself. Love yourself is an ego trap. Love yourself make you keep staying in this position of me, myself, and I. It's the illusion that if I love myself and I focus on myself, everything is solved. No, that's the trap. That's the ego trap. That's when you are not moving forward. Again, that's when you end up thinking only about yourself. So stop thinking about yourself and think about the other.
Well,
I am because we are.
When you love yourself, you will reflect
But
that with others.
not today in our society. Today in our society, the instinct is you have these legions of people who love themselves so much. That's all they do. They love themselves, and they are incapable of loving the others. They say they do it, but they don't.
Yeah.
It goes back to them all the time. You know, they don't. They keep it for themselves. They keep the money. They keep the love. They keep it for themselves. I see it all the time. Young people, older people, married couples, single people. We are living in a world, because of the construct of social media, have isolated us more than ever. You do a search on Instagram, all you see is beautiful men and women showing their butt. Constantly, look at me. I love so much myself. I've got this Botox injection. I'm the cutest of all. No, you're just one of the cutest of all. That doesn't exist, the cutest of all.
Exactly.
You know, so it's very important. Again, the awakening now is to move from the love myself to love the whole world. You know, and again, I am because we are. So realize that your happiness is not coming only from you. This is just the foundation. You know, it's like when people saying, "Oh, I'm a religious person." Oh, wow, you read the Bible, so suddenly you're religious. Yeah, that's a foundation. But then you have to put that in action.
Correct. Once again,
if it
it's
stays
action.
just a word, it's action. And action by act of love, not just word of love. Don't say only, I love you to somebody, but show them.
Correct.
Show them you're taking care of them. Show them you're paying their bill. Show them you're hugging them when they cry. Show them that you are their partner. Most people, they don't want to be in partnership. It's me, 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 me. I see it all the time. I'm myself a victim of that. So, and I'm a guilty sometime of that too. Of course, you know, we're all victims and guilt parties at one point, you know.
I know you've interviewed a lot of celebrities, political people around the world and in Hollywood and in different countries. Who has been the most difficult interview for you?
And you know,
Can you
again,
say?
because by what I said, that I don't like to focus on the negative. It's really hard because, again, usually I forget as soon as I have a bad experience, I try to move forward. But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I go in dark places and have dark thoughts about myself, even so I love myself. But to answer your question, couple of times I was, especially on the first documentary, because maybe I wasn't knowing very well what I was doing, you know, I approached certain individual. I don't want to mention name, but it was, I can say where it took place. I remember one place in Jerusalem, and we were doing the documentary on oneness, God, love, you know, and I go to this house where the gentleman was really an extreme East in his view, and I was with somebody on my side who was from the opposite religion. And that gentleman didn't want my friend to come in. That gentleman really just was so difficult because every time I was trying to be positive about the notion of oneness and how can we coexist together, he was saying, no. All these people, like your friend, they need to get out of Jerusalem. Nothing will work until they are all out. It was so disgusting. So for me, a difficult interview is not so much to try to get an answer from you, but it's to try to get a constructive, humanitarian-driven answer. It's sad to me, and thank God it's a minority of people, but they have a loud voice. There are so many people who are so negative, and they create so much toxicity. Look at Trump. There aren't so many Trump, but just one Trump, one idiot, creates so much negativity, so much toxicity. And at the same time, again, economically, I really like certain things he did. But as a human being, as a spirit, and spirit come from espiritu, which means the breath. So what he breathed onto us was division, was anger, was deception, was darkness. You cannot breathe to each other that type of energy. We have to breathe love. And love is constructive. Love is expansion. Love it all, and all is love.
What does the soul mean to you? The soul. What is that definition?
Well, soul, spirit, it's very similar. Again, it's that part of us that is the original breath. It's that original essence of us. Again, the problem is today, more than ever, we have so many charlatans trying to use words to intoxicate you and to intimidate you and to keep you, again, into a frame of mind where you're going to end up believing Santa Claus and you're going to become a follower of Sadhguru or Deepak Chopra or Michael Beckwith. Don't become a follower of anybody. Don't become even a follower of Jesus Christ. Embrace Jesus Christ. Embrace Deepak Chopra. But remember, you're your own free man or free woman. You are as brilliant as they are. The only chance they had in their life is that they seem to be a little bit ahead of the game, where they seem to be a bit more awakened. They seem to be a little bit richer, materialistically speaking. That doesn't mean they are a better man or a better woman, or Marianne Williamson or whatever, or Sharon Stone. These are people who worked hard at it, but were very lucky. I've been working at it for 25. Have I been very lucky? No, I'm still a poor man. So my material life never materialized. But spiritually, look at that energy, that force, that vision, this word that nobody heard until I just said them. People always recycle the same blah, blah, blah. I try not to recycle the same blah, blah, blah. I try to create a new narration, a new narrative, so we can move forward. So we can be really peace in action. That's different. When you become a follower of somebody, you're just going to rehash the same thing. You're going to start repeating the same word of Deepak Chopra, of Jesus Christ, of Buddha. Who need that? Great, learn from it. Move on, create your own narration, your own words, your own action. And then you are a free man. The real revolution is a revolution of the soul, of the spirit, of the mind. And we're not there yet. We are stuck. And the reason we are stuck is because, again, all these social medias, all these platforms have even more separated us from each other. We are not connected anymore. It's an illusion. It's horrible. We have become ghosts in the machine. And that's why, when they say, oh, he ghosted me. Well, yeah, you ghosted yourself. We all ghost each other. It's horrible. We need to become alive again.
Who has influenced you the most in your life?
Well, one, and that's the answer. One, and one is what? It's the association of every person I meet. You, my wife, my kids, my parents. I think my wife, in spite of some tough time we are going through right now, she has inspired me the most, probably, because she's the closest to me. Mm-hmm. She's someone that I love without any thinking. I just impulsively try to serve her and adore her and love her. So that might be the most difficult.
If you could go back in time, Emmanuel, and meet or speak to someone, who would it be and what would you ask?
Good question. Well, I mean, like everybody, I'm fascinated by big spiritual figures. So I would say definitely Jesus Christ. It's like, dude, you were a punk, man. And that's why you got crucified, because you walked the system. And the rabbis and the Romans and all the fascists, they didn't like that. That's really why you got crucified, because you dare to say, screw that stuff. I mean, are you kidding? Look at how you treat each other. We cannot be enslaved. We cannot live our life as slave. So I love to talk with a dude and go back and figure out and try to understand what he missed and why he got crucified. So that's one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I live in Hollywood, I always say, I love to hang out with Marilyn Monroe. She seems like it's somebody that know a lot about the dark history of America and the world, because she's been everywhere and slept with everybody. So good for her. I'm sure she has a lot of truth to talk about. And I love to talk about with you, Marilyn. It's like, what's going on, in the head of all these guys,
Correct.
I mean, it's that's two historical figures that are so opposite in terms of everything, and at the same time they join hips. Look, Christ was supposedly a lover of the thief, of the prostitute. Marilyn was super generous with everybody. She even married a crazy writer who was not particularly attractive. So it shows how much of an insane, beautiful soul she was, misunderstood, used, abused. Mm-hmm. It's so sad to me to see the waste of life, the life taken away from us so quickly and shortly. Look, Marilyn died at in her 30s. Jesus Christ supposedly at the same time. I say supposedly because we don't have really historical records. So, but still, it's like it's young life that were so rich, that had so much power, influence, understanding, love, and they were taken away from us. So I love to visit them and say, hey, what did I miss? What I didn't understand from you? What can we do better? Because it seems that right now we're still repeating the same sadness, the same sad story. I started my movies maybe 20 years ago now, my documentaries. And if you watch The Invocation, and you and I did a book about it, which was done really almost 20 years ago, you think we just did it.
Correct.
The world hasn't moved forward. It's the same crap. It's the same chaos. It's actually, honestly, more misery, more war, more distress, more suicide. Enough. Aren't you tired of dying? I am. So when are we going to
live?
Wake up, stand up,
action.
Unite, and live in oneness?
Yeah.
Become peace in action, please.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It's so great to connect with you always. And if you'd like to find out more about Emmanuel, you can go to his website, which is posted above. And I wish you great success, great peace, continued just spreading the word.
Amen. I love you, everybody. Just dare it. Become love in action. Not only peace, love.
I'm Gary Quinn. Thank you for joining me today on this next episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time, stay well.